Very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. I am joined by the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Babadantiye, for discussion on the controversy over demolition of structures in the state. Dantiye is a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors and member of the prestigious National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Jos. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. So some days ago, we had Engineer Buba Galadima on the show, who gave us his own opinion on some of the policies and decisions taken by the governor. But it became very important for us to hear from someone who is a part of this administration for a clearer understanding on the reasons behind the actions of the governor. So once again, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So let's start with the new cabinet of Governor Kabir Abba Yusuf. How will you describe it?
Well, I will describe the new cabinet as a cabinet of action because he has been able to identify and bring people that are capable, people that have been tested, so to say, and people that are ready to work, to join hands with him, to realize the promises made during the campaigns. These are people that are specialists in their own, experts in their own fields, people that have been working very hard already to make sure that the policies, the manifesto, the blueprint that His Excellency campaign with have been implemented for the benefit of the people of Kano State. So the cabinet, you can see, is a combination of the young and the elderly. And this is a good combination for any development to be realized. You have the young, you have the aged, you have the experience, you have the people that are coming up. So I think it's a very good cabinet, and given the time, you will see what I'm saying.
All right, so now that a new cabinet is in place, what should the people of Kano State expect from the administration?
Well, you see, it's a constitutional requirement that you cannot govern without a council. There are so many decisions that cannot be taken unless by the council, which is the highest decision-making body at the federal executive council, and the state executive council. Even in terms of money, spending money, there is a limit of how much His Excellency the Governor can approve, and also there is anything beyond that has to go to the council. So without the council, not so much can be achieved or can be done. So the existence or the establishment of the council will help to identify, to help to approve, to help to implement projects. Because otherwise, you can't spend money. You can't, and without money, you cannot work for have development. And also, not only that, other decisions, policy decisions that have to be taken at the Executive Council level to make it government decisions. So the Executive Council is a very essential arm of governance in each state and at the federal level.
So, I mean, what do you consider as the biggest challenge in Kano State that demands urgent attention?
Well, the biggest challenge, well, of course, is we have a lot of out-of-school children, and our priority has always been education. The priority of His Excellency Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf is education. The priority of the previous administration, where we came from, was education, and I mean the administration of Engineer Musa Konkoso. So our priority is education. Our second priority is education. Third priority is education. Then we are also concerned about the level of education, or level of our youth unemployment. So there is this huge need for carrying the youth along, trying to empower them, making effort that they're empowered, they're educated, they're given support to sustain themselves. Then, of course, there is the issue of making sure that they don't go into drugs, or we bring down the issue of drugs drastically down. So these are the challenges, these are the priorities of the government. And of course, there are so many, because we are taking over from a government that has virtually run down every sector. So we have two double work to do: one, to rectify, then to implement what we want to implement.
All right, so let's talk about out-of-school children. I mean, you would agree that this is like the biggest nightmare of Kano State. What does the governor intend to do about that?
Yes, I've said so. The issue of out-of-school children is a matter of concern to the government. And plus, I told you, part of what we did, I think it's essentially, we were continuing from where we stopped, because we are all part of Rami Musa Konko's government. We are part of the implementation of the program he came up with. So once the program was stopped, it was stopped by the president's administration, then we have this problem. Now, during that administration, which we want to revive, His Excellency, the Governor, wants to revive, is one is free education, two is expansion of access and easy access, even in terms of support, because the government would support them with uniforms. The federal government was giving them two sets of uniforms, free feeding at primary schools, and building of classrooms, training of teachers, and so on. So once you expand, and once you train teachers, you get more. If they and in case of need, you bring back those that have retired and are able, and all these are under consideration. Through that administration, about 44 schools were established, but none of them, when the middle pass administration came, they just virtually killed all of them. They didn't allow them to exist. Even the ones that were existing had to suffer a lot of difficulties in continuing. So in terms of education, I think it's been given, where the Governor Abba Kabir has given education priority, both at the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. And that's why when we come to these things we are talking about demolition, I will explain to you how these things have been done.
So, Governor Abba Yusuf is the only governor on the platform of NNPP, but analysts say he started on a rather controversial note with the demolition of structures erected by immediate past administration of Ganduje. Let me ask you, don't you think this is a bad way to run the government?
No. It can't be a bad way. You can't. How is it bad? He didn't start on a ground footing, because the moment he was sworn in, the first thing he did was to visit the drug rehabilitation center at Iru. Iru is about 60-70 kilometers away from Kano, that established by Rabi Konkoso, which was abandoned. And this is not a bad start, because a good start. It depends. You see, it depends on how or why people choose to isolate one action, and even that action was not well analyzed and so on. You cannot appropriate public institutions and say they are right. But when you appropriate them, nobody talks, and when you get them back to the people, then that's when people start. Some people start talking. But you understand that we are taking over from an enemy government, so to say. So they will do whatever they can to change the narrative. But the fact of the matter is this: all these places that were either demolished, are public places that were given to individuals. No, like the governor has said several times, especially during this Salah visit by the MSU, has told them nobody's house or shop was demolished. If they were demolished, it was because they were built on public places, public institutions, in schools, in mosques, in markets, not even markets, but universities. You take over a whole university building and make it a shop. Make shops there. You go to the central mosque, and you build shops, and when people want to pray, you have contracted the mosque. You go to Polytechnic and take part of it and build houses. When the Polytechnic, they are in need of facilities like libraries, like toilets, like theaters and so on. So it's not really anything about Palestine. As far as the narrative outside, maybe yes, but in Kano, people are happy because when it started, they opposed it. In Polytechnic, the union then 3-4 years ago, not only protested but demonstrated. They said, look, don't take this land because we need this land to build toilets, to build theaters, to build classrooms, to build other facilities, to expand the school because the population is expanding. So if this population is expanding, you need to, buy land to expand the schools, not to take the school's land. You don't go to a whole school like the University of Science and Technology institution that hosts the School for Hospitality and Tourism in Kano, and you just demolish everything. Then they took the students away and build a wall and say you are attracting investors. Which investor would come and invest in public places and then say that you are bringing economic development to Kano? I don't think that is proper. I don't think so.
All right, Honorable, there have been a lot of reactions to this issue, and people are still reacting. Some people say he is doing this out of hatred for Ganduje. How will you react to this?
There is no vengeance because this is personal to him. Look, he has said, so, look, even yesterday he said, the governor said, our community said, look, I'm the first person governor to fill my code of conduct forms. And when I leave, at the end of the tenure, go and check. I want able to go and check that form and see if there's going to be any change. Which means this land is not going to take part of this land. And it's not going to allocate to any individual, but it's going to turn it to institutions. That's the difference. So there is no vendetta. If there is no vendetta, because the land is not going to be given to any individual like the previous government did, because they allocated to maybe to their families or to their friends or to other individuals and so on. Now we said, look, this land should not be given to any person because the land belongs to schools, the lands belong to the mosque, the land belongs to the people, and the people should now own their land. So what's vendetta there? There's no vendetta. Anybody, I'm sure, even if it were his deputy that took over, I'm trying to take this action.
All right, so let's leave the issue of demolition. Governor Yusuf is also going after other policies and programs of the immediate past administration by sacking some employed officials and stopping salaries of others. Why this?
No. No. Nobody is sacked. Absolutely, nobody is sacked. That is incorrect narrative. Nobody has been sacked. What happened is, so about 10,000 people were employed in about 2 months. And you come to wonder, even if there is no sacking or no stoppage of salaries, what happened? How did you employ about 10,000 plus in 2 months that you have not employed in 8 years? This is a question one. Two, what I think what the governor said, what he did, is that because there are a lot of complaints in the service, because so they say, look, set up a committee for verification, but their salary have to be suspended, because if you pay salary to wrong person, how do you retrieve it? But if you stop it and the verification say he's right or he has been employed rightly, you can pay him backlog the salaries. But when there is suspicion of malfeasance or inappropriate procedure that was followed, then the best thing in service, and that's the tradition in service, is to set a verification committee, verify, find out those who have been wrongly employed, or those who have been maybe fake their results, maybe were
But don't you think the governor should have set up these committees for verification before sacking them or stopping their salaries?
No. You see, if you say that, which means now he'll pay salaries to wrong people. So the salaries have to be stopped first. Otherwise, if he pays the salaries to these people for this month, and now he set up the committee, then the point I'm telling you, who will now, if you find out that these people have spent the money, have spent the salaries, and they are wrongly employed, now how do you retrieve that money?
But how do you conclude they were wrongly employed when the verification has not even started or concluded?
No, but when the outcome of the verification now will show. So those that are wrongly employed, of course, they are wrongly employed. The rules and regulations will take its course. And if they're rightly employed, they'll get their salaries. Nobody will touch their salaries. Absolutely not. And it's normal. It's normal in service. It's normal in service.
All right, I've been speaking with the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Baba Dantiye, tonight. We're discussing the controversy over demolition of structures in Kano State. With politics tonight, where we dig beyond the headlines. Tonight, we're discussing the controversy over demolition of structures in Kano State. And joining me to shed light on the decisions and actions of the governor is the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Baba Dantiye. All right, Honorable, so all of this, retractions of policies, demolition of structures, many say this will distract the governor from focusing on governance. Don't you think so?
No, I don't think so, because this is part of governance. Because look, this is a tradition of government, a tradition of governance. You take over, see policies that need to be changed, you change them. See policies that need to be discarded, you discard them. See policies that need to be built on, you build on them. So it's not only in Kano, it's only because this is been done. And this been done is because of the massive destruction that was done in Kano by the previous administration. And that's why you assume that it's a distraction. So a distraction, that's the process of government. You take over. If there is any policy that is good, you follow it, you build on it. If there is policy that needs to be changed, you change it. So if there is any construction, whatever you want to change, you change it. So it's not, because ultimately the aim, the objective is to make sure that people benefit, or it's been done in the public interest. Well, if it's in the public interest, it doesn't really matter. It's not a distraction; it's part of governance. Well, the governor will come to improve the lives, to protect the lives, to protect the property of the people, to make sure that justice is done, and so on. So if this is part of governance everywhere, maybe because it's so much attention is paid to it, but there are so many things that are also taking place there.
All right, so don't you think this will affect the future of the NNPP in the state? If the party is trying to reposition and grow into a national party, do you really think this is a good way to kick off?
No, but people are happy. You see, people. Well, I don't want to say people like you, but some of people outside, they have this have a mindset. We celebrated Salah, and if you see how people troop to welcome, to appreciate the governor, you'll be surprised that things like this are coming out. So this is making ANPP popular, because it's setting a precedence that nobody in future will come and take people's land and appropriate and just go away like that. And nobody will just be allocated people government land or lands that belong to institutions and take it just like that. He knows that one day there will be consequences. And otherwise, how can you stop this kind of thing?
All right.
Land belonging to a school, to a university, you went and demolished. Look, do you know Hajj Camp? The Hajj Camp is a place where pilgrims stay on transit. And this was built by Audubon 50 years ago, or more than that, because remember, Kano was the center where pilgrims leave for Saudi Arabia, from northern Nigeria, from all seasons northern Nigeria and neighboring countries like Nigeria and Cameroon. And so there are about 132 houses, two-bedroom houses. All these houses were just demolished like that, and the land handed over to allocate to an individual. So and we still have pilgrims, don't we? So do you think this should just go like that? When they were destroying these houses, people didn't complain. It's only when now that the government said, look, you must turn this land to pilgrims welfare board. You must rebuild the pilgrims of the camp, because we still have pilgrims that go to Saudi Arabia, and they need to stay 2-3 days before their flight, or when they come back, they need to stay 2-3 days to wait their luggage and so on. And someone, remember, some are from Kano, some are from Borno, some are from other states and so on. So how would they stay? So how do you, over 60 toilets were just demolished like that? So why would they, and so on. So this is the issue. The issue is we are setting precedents that His Excellency, the governor, is setting precedent that in future nobody will come and take people's land and just think that it is gone and gone forever. No.
Honorable, now you just said people...
It's making NNPP very popular, and other states will just emulate it.
All right, you just said Kano people are happy with this decision. But last week we saw videos of people who were protesting against this demolition. How would you react to that?
No. You see, if you want to, of course there are people that will protest. But how many of them? You are talking of majority. You are talking of democracy. So if people, we're not saying that 100% nobody will protest. We're saying that people that were allocated that place are not happy that it's been taken over back to government, because they're selfish. So if they protest, why would people look? If you stop them from protesting, then there will not be democracy after. But I'm telling you that the majority. Look, we had a Salah meeting that took that lasted for 5 days, and no incidents anywhere we went. So why don't you reflect that? Would they say people will not protest? Of course, there could be people that will protest, which is normal. But when you come to the ground, you'll assume that day Kano will just be bad. But people were just hailing the governor from the ground. From there, we went to Emma's Palace in the morning. After the morning, we went for the Doba. After Doba, the next day, the emir came on horseback. The 5 emirs came and paid homage, and they were thankful and so on. So how did it, just because of a few people organized, paid, that's protested, that will be a reference point? No, certainly not.
All right then. So, I mean, in all of this demolition spree embarked upon by the governor, one question several persons have asked is, why should anyone demolish the beautiful government house roundabout in Kano?
Okay, that roundabout is of course located at the gate of the government house. The fact that a monument is placed at government roundabout is also problematic, because that place should be free, and nobody is saying that the design or whatever it is, or the concept or the history is nobody's fault of that, but the location. The location is problematic. The location is objectionable, because how could you locate that huge structure massively at government house because somebody is trying to by fire by force to make a legacy? Now the governor said, look, this is not the place to put this. You should get an appropriate place that should be located. If you go not far away from there, there is the flyover built by Governor Ravi Konkosu. When he was building it, there was something like that, something small, but also historical monument, so to say. The silver jubilee, this is a golden jubilee. So when Kano was celebrating 25th anniversary, I think it was Hans Abdullahi who built it. And when he was going to construct Governor Konkosu was going to do the flyover, he moved it somewhere. He didn't destroy it. And there was also another, something like a calabash decorated, and so he also moved somewhere. So it's a look. It's not a question of destruction. It's a question of the location is inappropriate, and it's going to be located maybe at an appropriate location. So people assume, because people can be rushed in making conclusions, which is fine. But with time, people understand the rationale behind certain actions.
All right. Well, I know Governor Yusuf has said critics should wait till the end of his tenure, but you and I understand the importance of feedback. Critics say it is former Governor Kwankwaso that is indirectly ruling the state and trying to wipe out the Ganduje legacy.
No, no. You see, if you say so, I don't think if you say Kwankwaso is the one ruling, I don't think we'll be angry about that, because we all served when he was governor, and like I said, we are now trying to revive some of the project and program about that. So what's wrong with that if that's so? However, you know, he was our leader because I was governor, he was our boss, and he's a leader of our party. He's a leader of the NNPC. So what is it if he advises, or if he guides, or if he intervenes in areas where he says, look, this is what should be done or what should not be done? And it's not a question of, you know, him ruling, but naturally he cannot assume it's not possible for him not to show interest in it. Because look, I was his press secretary for 3.5 years. The governor was his commissioner, was his private secretary. So and we maintain that not loyalty and friendship, but that camaraderie. So what is it that if he comes and say, look, this is what you should want to do, what is the big deal? I cannot see. Because now do you want us to also do like a duty to fight him for no reason? So it's okay, he's a leader of the party. Even as the leader of the party, he can advise. Even as a former presidential candidate of the party, he must show interest in what goes on. So don't assume, you know, that because, you know, they say because they're ruling and so on. Meaning what? That he should know Kano is a state, so he should not show interest in Kano.
All right.
No. I think yes. I think we are comfortable with his role, and whatever people say is, of course, their opinion. But we respect him, and we appreciate his guidance, and we will continue to follow him, you know, because he has been giving us very good leadership, both at national and state level.
All right, so let's talk about another critical issue in Kano State. Why is it that both Kwankwaso and Ganduje find it hard to forgive one another?
Well, I think that question should go to Ganduje, who even, you know, said he was going to slap, you know, this pedestrian language. But you know, in terms of let me say that I think essentially it's not really more than a personal thing. It's a question of developmental issue and a political issue. If Kwankwaso love for people of Kano, you know, is different from Ganduje's perception, you know, because let me give an example. When Kwankwaso was governor, he established 26 institutions for youth empowerment, women empowerment, and general development of the youth, and so on and so forth. Ganduje killed all the 26. So you can see the different perception of development. So if that perception will bring, you know, some disharmony. But what at personal level, I cannot say whether there is any big deal. But in terms of what the concept of welcome should be, I think there's fundamental difference. And you know, we don't want to spend so much time on it because that is a big distraction. We want to continue to build on what Kwankwaso has done. We want to continue to revive the projects that, you know, are abundant, which people were happy with, which have helped in the progress and the standard of living of the people that have been stopped. That's our business. So we don't want to go into semantics, into destructive politics and so on. So this is our governor.
All right. But don't you think the bad blood between them is, I mean, hearing up the polity and causing tension in Kano State? Did you get my question?
No, I didn't.
So I'm asking, don't you think this bad blood between them is heating up the polity and causing tension in Kano State?
It may, but you see, it used to, especially when Ganduje was in government, because he was very powerful as governor, we had government. But without followership, without government, so I don't think they have people that will really cause bad blood that will bring any setback to us or to Kano. No, they don't have that people, they don't have the power, they don't have that strength rather.
So, Honorable, if you agree with me that this is causing so much tension in Kano State, would you also agree that the people of Kano State are the biggest loser in this? I mean, a lot of people have said this has caused so much setback in the development of that state.
No, you see, if you talk of tension, so much tension, I keep saying whether we're talking about the same Kano, whether the Kano I live in, because I've not seen the tension. There's no tension. This is my problem. People outside say there is tension, but we live in Kano and there's no tension. And as I'm telling you, I told you that we just celebrated Sunday.
Can you hear me, Honorable? Are you there? If you can hear me, are you Honorable Dantier? All right, I've been speaking with the Commissioner for Information.
But certainly there is not that tension that you think that as if Kano is a no-go area or cannot, is a place that can just spoil anytime. No. The security agents are there. How many people did they arrest during Salah? How many people did they detain during Salah? How many people? How many? No. Nobody was really, there was no instance, in Kano. No.
So, I mean, I asked you if you agree that this is causing a lot of setback in the development of Kano State. This is what the people are saying.
Well, it depends on their perception. When the government is focused, we remain focused. But of course, I'll not say that, in certain areas, they're not causing destruction or they're causing some, trying to cause some dislocation either in government or by peddling fake news, by peddling misinformation and so on. But in terms of serious governance, it's just normal like anywhere. If you go deep, each state has this kind of problems, especially where you have differences that are sharp and deep. But in Kano, of course, yes, I will not say 100% it will not cause anything or it will not cause any problem. Yes, there could be problems here and there. Yeah, I accept. But by and large, there are still some that are affecting, the governance, the leave that be off. In terms of politics, Kano is a very, very, very heavily political state. We play politics, or people do politics in Kano all year round. If you go to Kano today, if you listen to radio, you'll assume that tomorrow is going to be election. So we are used to these politics and so on. People love politics, they play politics and so on. But governance is different from politics. In the governance, Abba Kabir Yusuf is a very rational person. He's very, very, very objective. Politics is different from governance. He has mentioned several times, even yesterday. He said, look, all the elected government chairmen don't belong to our party. But it doesn't matter. I want to work with them because our interest is the progress and development of Kano people. And he said he was very happy that they have understood this and they are cooperating with the government. So what setback? All of the local government chairmen have belonged to the opposition party. But the government is working with them.
All right. So let's talk about your party now. How will you describe the future of the NNPP?
Well, the future is very bright. The future is very bright. Just wait and see. The future is very bright because this is, because we are used to parties that come from top to bottom. Ours is from bottom top. So now, and this is the litmus test, Kano. So if Kano is able to do well, which we are doing under the governorship of Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf, then others will continue to expand. And I just hope that maybe during election will continue to be free, fair, incredible, and you'll see wonders.
All right, Honorable. So I know you must have heard people calling your principal, Dr. Rabi Kwankwaso, a regional champion. So what are you doing as a party to extend the influence of NNPP beyond Kano State?
Well, you see, people give labels and so on. You cannot call Dr. Kwankwaso a regional politician because he has always been a national identifier as national. You know, somebody who started who was a member of the National Assembly, who was deputy speaker, you know, and so on. And he was a minister, he was an advisor to the president, and so on. So how do people want to reduce him from a national figure to a regional figure? You know, it's just laughable. But with him, you see, and you can see that the Kokosia, the movement itself has spread over, you know, all states of the country. People appreciate it. Wherever you go, you'll see our identity, the red cap, and of course the white cap. But this is just identity. In our heart and mind, we are committed to doing good, to public good, to doing good, to service to our people, to be honest, and so on. And you see, the slogan is Amana. Amana means trust. So it's when you say Kompasia, you say Amana. So our strength is trust. We keep trust, and we deliver things trustfully. So I think the party will expand through the platform of this of Kompasia and the credibility of the national, where is the international leader of Kompasia, Governor Musa Kwankwaso.
All right, so we saw how Nigerian youths made a mark during the 2023 general election. So what are you doing to accommodate more young people into your party across the country?
Well, you see, I wouldn't want to talk about the party so much because I am Commissioner for Information of Kano State. So there is the party structure, who people that manage the party and speak for the party. So I wouldn't want to go deep into area that I have no mandate to speak on beyond what I have told you.
All right, I hear you, but one more question. So with one governor, 2 senators, and 17 members of the House of Reps, what role do you think the NNPP can perform in national politics?
Well, you see, it's not at times. Not even it's not the number, it's the performance, the conduct. If they, you know, and we are sure they are going to conduct themselves well, they are going to perform well, and this will impact. And what it impacted, once it impacted, now it will separate. Because look, Nigerians are very good people. They are very rational, very reasonable. They know what is good and what is bad. They know what is who will serve them. They know who will not serve them. They know who will lead them well. They know who will not lead them well. So, and I'm sure by the leadership of Kwankwaso, these members you have mentioned, these people you have mentioned, they will do well, and they will set precedents for others to come into the party and to separate the party. And I'm sure it's not really in terms of number, because even in terms of number, see the impact they're making at the National Assembly now, and that it has not even started.
All right,
this is the beginning.
All right, so let's get back to your forte. I mean, the new administration has resuscitated scholarship for foreign studies in that state. What prompted this decision?
What prompted the decision is, like I told you, where Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf's government is an offshoot of former Governor Rabi Kwankwaso's government. He was deeply part of it. And Governor Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, I told you I was his press secretary for about 4 years, 3.5 years. And he sponsored, his government sponsored over 2,000 Kano first-class degree graduates to different countries in the world to go and study to further their education. They are all back. They have also set up their association, called themselves Kwankwasia scholars. And they're doing very well. We have over 150 PhDs amongst them. So that has made Kano uplift the standard of quality of educated people in Kano. So it is in that light that the Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf wants to also make sure he continues along that line. And so far, he has set up a committee that has screened about 1,000. And he just yesterday, he said yesterday also,
right.
He said by September, they will start going to
but
different
do you
countries
think
to study.
the states can afford this? All right. Please go ahead.
No, whether the government can afford.
Yes, can the state afford this?
Yes, because the state can afford. Because you see, it's not the question of there is no money, it's a question of management. It's the question of leakages. There are a lot of wastages. And at times it is the people that give the government the idea of saying there's no money. So once you say there's no money, some government will do that. But the money is there, and you'll see that when Congress was sending 2,000 people were saying there was no money. When we were saying he's sending 100 young men to Jordan, Middle East School of Aviation to go and do piloting and so on. People were saying, look, where was the money? But because money was there, because he has been able to block leakages, which is exactly what Governor Abbaiso is doing also. So the money is there. You wait and see. If the money is there, why should we now say we are going to sponsor them? If the money is not there, we sponsor the ones that our money can take.
All right, fantastic. So before I let you go, Kano State, unlike others in the Northwest, is relatively peaceful. But the menace of phone snatching is giving people great concern. How does the government intend to tackle this?
This is a very really concerning, everyone is concerned about this very bad happiness in Kano and so on. But since the government of Abba Kabir came, there has been serious reduction. I think I had him yesterday telling one of the emails that the commissioner of police told him that for about a week, he has not gotten any complaint or any arrest of such nature. And to the glory of what has come down. It has come down.
Honorable, are you there? All right. I've been joined tonight by the Commissioner for Information in Kano State, Halilu Babadantiye, and tonight he shed more light on the controversy over demolition of structures in the state. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Honorable. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.